This is a first. This is a first. I don't think that in the we've been doing lives, we've ever had both of the boys at the same time, have we? And it's Father's Day. It's Father's Day. Give me a kiss. Ellie is okay with showing affection. Lex is not. Anyway, hey folks, Lester, Jamie, Lex, and Ellie here, and we're coming to you from Longhorn Lesters, where we just finished celebrating our Father's Day lunch. Jamie and I did some grilling. Ellie drove over. He had to made a long drive over to Longhorn Lesters, and but Ellie's okay with that. Ellie, why are you so excited about hanging out here at Longhorn Lesters lately?
Cause Nikki.
Tell everybody who doesn't know this already.
Yeah, on my Flip Flop Farmer YouTube channel, I posted many videos of my cat Nikki Bella, who had 5 kittens. They were all boys. It's been a whole ordeal. I don't want to get into all that right now, but like she went in. Anyways, the cats are gonna live here because this will be a good home for them. Nikki's used to being outside,
And we have a little mouse problem. So you all know that we were able to, I feel like I'm in front of you.
No, it's okay. I'm
Are
back
you
here.
sure?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's very warm out, so
It is warm, so we're all going to be sticky.
A lot of
and this is
togetherness.
going to be very fast. We're not going to stick around and hold you for too long.
I already am sticky.
Lex is already sticky. Yeah, I feel your leg touching mine, and it's very sticky. We do have a little mouse problem here, and so we did bring some cats over, and so we know that by having cats, you can rid the mice real fast, and we do not do mice. We love cats, but we're not going to do mice. Anyway, we had a little barbecue. I did some hamburgers. Jamie did some shrimp kebabs, and it was really neat. Ellie and Lex here just stuffed ourselves, and it was just a blessing to have both the boys together. We do something for Father's Day every year, but this is the first time that we're doing it from Longhorn Lesters, and the first time we're going live.
Yeah.
I want to wish Happy Father's Day to all of the men and the women. There's a lot of women who have also had to play the role of father. And I know a number of moms or a number of kids, especially from teaching school, that didn't have dads around to enjoy and celebrate Father's Day. So I appreciate you women taking that role. And there's a lot of women who have to do that. So thank you all. Ellie, any special memories? Lex, what was your favorite memory of our Father's Day so far? Now, I'm going to have to say that Lex only woke up an hour ago. So he only has an hour worth of memories. So it better be good. So you have a lollipop in your mouth. What are you eating there? What is that?
A strawberry popsicle.
He has a strawberry popsicle. I'll tell a funny story about popsicles. And it was from a year ago when your work sent you to San Diego to some kind of a conference. And you let us tag along. All of us tagged along with you. And by day, we were all stuck at the hotel. Like it was such a horrible thing. Because it was a very nice hotel. But what Lex loved the most about the hotel was they had an ice cream shop.
And not just any ice cream shop. They had a popsicle shop.
It was a popsicle shop, but they were all Spanish popsicles. It was all like Spanish stuff. I guess because of the Spanish influence around the San Diego area. And so Lex was in heaven. So it was multiple times throughout the day and night that he and Ellie could be found at the popsicle shop. He kind of lived on those.
Well, what's funny though is that whenever we ask Lex, like, where do you want to go on vacation? He's like, well, what has a popsicle shop?
That's all he cares about. Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't care that we're on the beach and we put our feet in the ocean and we got to see all these cool things.
The popsicle shop was my favorite part about it, so that's all I can really remember the most.
And you have a great chance of meeting Rey Mysterio there because he's from San Diego.
He is from San Diego. Yeah. So both the boys and their dad have always been big into wrestling, the WWE. So Rey Mysterio is from San Diego, but we didn't see Rey, unfortunately, huh?
The 619.
The 619. The 619. And I will say this, we actually have a lot of people who follow the page from the 619. And I know that because while we were in San Diego last year, and we made a video of us being in San Diego, if you remember, we got a lot of messages like, I'm only 20 minutes away. I'm only 20 minutes away. If y'all wait, I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. And so that was kind of fun. And so that was really neat, too, to know that there were folks that were in that part of town that were just 20 minutes away if we would have just waited. And so,
Sorry.
anyway, Father's Day is special, and I mean, come on, anytime you have your kids together in the same house, in the same car, in the same anything is special. As Ellie gets older and begins to, now he has to not only think about his father, but also Megan's father. And then, of course, Megan's grandfather, and then his grandfather. And so his grandfather's plural. And then there's a whole lot of spreading out as you get older. There's a whole lot of spreading out that you have to do. And so anytime with LE, be it Christmas or a birthday or a Father's Day or any event, it's like shared time. It's like we're on borrowed time. And so it's borrowed time. There's a joke between these guys. I get it. Jamie has no idea what y'all are laughing about.
No idea. I'm like,
Jamie.
I don't know why that's funny. That's very real to me. But everybody over here is joking. I'm like, is something gonna happen today that I don't know about?
No,
like,
it's already happened, Jamie. It's already happened, probably. Has it, boys?
Yeah.
I would like for each of my sons to read a question. Now, we can barely see any questions coming up on the Facebook Live because questions don't pop up as fast. But over here on YouTube, can you boys each pick out one question that you'd like to answer? I like to showcase you guys a little bit, especially because they have amazing hair. As they know, they better talk about borrowed time. You better enjoy your long, beautiful, curly hair while you can. Because anyone that has seen photos of me when I was your age knows that I also wore my hair long. Because that's just what we did because we had long hair. It was the style then and it's a style now. And so we wore our hair long. However, I talked about this recently when I turned about 30, 35-ish or so, and I began to lose my hair so fast, I went ahead and just said, you know what? I'm not going to have that slow Bozo the Clown look. Is that Bozo the Clown that has no hair here and long hair around?
Yeah.
I was not going to have the Bozo the Clown look. Jamie, you've not said a whole lot. When the boys
I'm
are looking for a
reading
question,
and just was thinking. I was thinking about your Bozo the Clown thing, and I also was thinking about two other people. So, didn't Gallagher have long hair, but only on the sides?
yes, Gallagher. Lex, there's a question that's actually for Lex. You want to answer that one first, Lex?
Favorite flavor of popsicles?
So Lex has been asked, what is your favorite flavor of popsicle?
I would say my favorite flavor is probably
Lime.
lime.
And it is. And as a matter of fact, that brings back a memory.
I knew exactly what he was going to say.
Because in San Diego, it didn't have lime. It said limon, right?
Yeah.
Limon. And so we learned then that limon is the equivalent to lime flavored, even though I thought that limon would be lemon. Limon is supposedly lime. So whatever.
Aren't they similar anyways, though?
Lime and lemon are similar, but they're
close.
also
There's a lime is more tangy.
Yeah, there's a different tang to it. There's a different tang.
Probably like frog and toad, alligator and crocodile kind of thing, I'm guessing.
Here's a great question for LE. It says, what made you start I'm a Survivor Sanctuary? LE was around through that entire process. So you want to talk about what made us start I'm a Survivor Sanctuary?
It's interesting asking me that because you're the one who actually like founded it, but he's
Jamie
right.
and I founded it,
but I was there, and so I do remember after the big Hurricane Harvey video. That's how my dad and Jamie actually met. If y'all didn't know, and that's kind of what put the animals of the sanctuary.
Fireball, stop!
You put him up here.
I thought it would be cute. I didn't know he was going to sit here and roll over the computer. Go ahead, Ellie. You're competing with Fireball.
We're not muted, are we?
No.
Okay.
Now we are. Okay, there we go.
I think we're still good.
Still
Sorry,
good.
Fireball.
Uh-oh.
Keep going, Ellie. It was a good story. Keep telling.
Yeah, no, I was there at the beginning. The video going viral when you returned home after the flood and were shocked that Imogene, Meg, and Patty had miraculously survived. That's what kickstarted it all. It's kind of what put the animals back then in 2017. It was only them and I think Ringo, because Ringo came shortly after.
Right after to be a partner to Meg.
Yeah, so that's what kind of put them on the map. And so people kind of started following the Morrow journey since then. And then at some point, Annie Alpaca was added, Tex was added, and you just go through it. The 100+ animals there are now were all added.
That breeze feels so good. Where'd that come from? Did you all feel that?
Yes, it was amazing.
I think that God did that because I'm sitting here dying of sweat, and all of a sudden we feel this amazing breeze coming from the south behind us. I mean, that feels good. Keep going. No.
People want to know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to contribute a little bit more to LE, but also LE remembers, and especially Jamie, that there were so many animals that had been lost in the flood but had never been reclaimed. There were so many animals in Liberty County that were lost in the flood or abandoned, but had never been reclaimed because people came back home to find what we found, destruction and just nothing, a lot of nothing. Homes and farms just destroyed.
Well, and fences and everything else. So
No
that you would,
fencing.
I think people found animals on their property that weren't their animals and then couldn't find their own animals. I also think that many people didn't return home. They didn't have the means to come home.
Well, yeah, because think about it. When you're sitting there in a situation where you come home to nothing, and at some point you have to realize that it was nice in the old days when you had, your animals and you had your farm and you had your tractor and all your fences. But now when you come home to nothing, and most folks in our area don't have homes that are mortgaged and financed or insured. So their homes are just homes that people built. Good, old, hard, old fashioned, you build your own home, or if you buy your home, once it's paid for, you don't keep it insured. So there's no money for stuff like that. And these people, like you said, just had nothing to come home to. So they just left. They went and started over somewhere else. And we found just an abundance of animals that had nowhere to go. And they were putting those animals on Facebook and on just anywhere you turn around, all of these Liberty County.
And the county collected them at the fairgrounds as well. So it kind of sort of happened to us all at once. Like, it wasn't like we sat and dreamed of this and saw it. Like, I remember when we were first dating and we would be coming home from wherever, dinner or whatever, and coming to your home. I wasn't living here yet. And we would look out and see these animals in the middle of a field that wasn't really a pasture, that had no fencing. And we would go through the steps to, call the county and ask, because you can't just go like, oh, this is mine and this is mine. You have to go through all the steps. And that's whenever we learned what was really going on, that there was just an abundance, and really learned about the need.
So Ellie, I see people are asking you a few questions. Have you been reading any of those for you?
Yes, I have.
One of them that I think that has come up like 30 times.
Oh, no.
What are each of the boys' favorite memory?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would love to hear this. So each of the boys have to share their favorite memory with me. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Or favorite memory of you, or favorite memory of
this
something.
This better not embarrass me. Can you want to get in the middle so you can see? Look, you come get in the middle and I'll sit in your chair. You want to? Who wants to go first? Lex or Ellie?
Youngest first.
Oh.
Talk nice and loud. Your favorite memory of your dad.
My favorite memory is when I started messing around with you, punching and kicking and all.
That happens a lot.
And then you started chasing me, and we made that just a thing that we would do normally around the house.
So I make that terrible noise. Can I add to that story a little bit about what happened at that one time over at Chick-fil-A? Okay, Chick-fil-A. Can we watch myself die? Okay, everyone needs to understand that the only way I get to love Lex, he's at that age, and boys get that age where they don't want to love their dad anymore. So the only love I get is when I chase them and grab them and tickle them and play with them. And that's love, okay? So we had this game that we played around the house where I would catch Lex and I would drag him in front of the mirror. And I would say, this is just a game, y'all. You want to watch yourself die? And I would tickle him until he had to surrender. And he's sitting there in the mirror watching himself be tickled to death. Okay, it's a game. It's a game. He said it's a game. So the thing is, it was a fun game that we play around the house sometimes. He'd come over and we'd play watch yourself die, where I have to chase him, catch him, drag him to the mirror. The big old Jami has a big wall mirror. So I would hold him in that mirror and tickle him until he surrendered or died. So we go to Chick-fil-A one day. Oh, you know the story, right?
Yes,
we go to Chick-fil-A. I take Ellie and Lex to Chick-fil-A. And Connor. And I'm in line. I'm going to order for everybody. And the line is long. So I'm in the back of this line waiting to order. And the boys go over to the little playland area. This is before the corona, all that stuff started. And so in the kids' playland, they had this mirror. I don't know why they would have a mirror in playland, but they had this mirror, and the two boys come running out, Lex and Connor. Dad, Lester, Uncle Lester. Can we play Watch Myself Die? And everyone's looking around because they're screaming it across the entire restaurant.
I don't think it went just like that.
How did it go?
I actually think that it went, Dad, we want to watch ourselves die.
Yeah, something to the
It
effect
was way
of that.
more. There's no play. So that's when everybody looks at you like, what are you doing with your kids, man?
Everybody's, Lex, look at all that. People laughing at how goofy that was. There was a lot of people that did not know what kind of a weirdo I was that was going to make my kids watch themselves die.
In the play place.
Yeah. Hey, I think, Dad, there's a mirror. Can't we watch ourselves die?
Yeah, that's how I think it was,
Everyone was looking
actually.
at you concerned and all.
Everyone was looking at me very concerned, and rightfully so. Even though it was a simple game we played around the house, I had to explain to his mom that if he goes home and says, Dad makes me watch myself die, it's not anything she needs to worry about,
Yeah,
because I'm
no
wobbling the
concern.
table. No concern. That's a really fun memory, Lex, and I love that. So what Lex doesn't know, what Lex doesn't know I'll do on a live video is something like this over here. I take my shirt and I do this, and I'm going to back up a little bit. And then I put my hands up like this over here. Where are you going, son? Get over here close. Anyway, so I chase him around and around the house, and I'm going, and I scream like some kind of a monster.
That's going to be the thumbnail.
I scream like, please don't anyone screenshot that and try to hold it against me. And I come a little bit closer, and I scream and I holler, and I scare him and chase him. And that's a fun memory for Lex, and that's a lot of fun for me. But what's crazy
You
is
should do that.
I still do that. But Ellie, did we not do the exact same thing when you were that age?
Similar, yeah. Pretty
Probably
much the
didn't
same.
have the same name, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, it was probably a different name.
We had different names, but we've always had fun playing games. I've always enjoyed playing with my kids like that. So,
And
That's
it's
a
always
great memory.
never been just us. Like with Lex, if it was Lex, that means it's Lex and Connor. And if it was me, it also meant Jake and Dust and even Brienne for a while.
yeah, I was blessed to be able to be a part of all of my nephews and my nieces' upbringings. It was always the happy house. We called it the happy house, which sounds kind of weird in itself, but they would always come over to our place, and it was the happy house because Lou didn't like to clean. And so once her house was clean, she did not want it to get dirty. So Lou didn't want kids in her house. I think it's the same way with all of the other moms, Tina and Kim and
It's very
Stephanie.
normal.
I'm sure that's normal. You don't want to have your houses dirty. And so the kids would all come over, and we cook ramen noodle, and we would have, we lived on ramen noodle, and that was all before Jami. So we had a lot of fun. All right, Ellie, I want to hear your favorite memory. This is getting good.
Yeah.
Is the man game story okay?
Y'all have the craziest names of games. I don't even know what he's talking about right now.
I don't know where these names came from, but yeah, go ahead, Ellie.
There's also all the times that we played football. I remember the first time that we ever beat Jake and Dust, because it used to always be me and you against Jake and Dust in football and basketball. I was really sporty when I was younger. I still am, but I guess I finally had turned. What does the tattoo say? What year does it say? 2009?
2010.
2010. So I guess I turned 10, and I was finally old enough to start competing with my cousins, and we, for the first time, beat them in football and in basketball. And I guess just feeling how proud my dad was of me that day is something that I'll never forget.
Well,
and we literally won't forget it because
we tattooed that on our arm.
the date.
It's really neat that that is true because
March 21st.
Ellie was 10. Ellie was only 10. But Ellie has been very athletic since he was young. He always loved competing in sports. But it was always me and Ellie versus Jake and Dusty, always. And for probably 3 years or so, we would get beat at everything. We'd still play basketball, football. We'd still play, but we would never win. Until one day, Ellie and I just found a secret formula, and we beat Dusty and Jake for the first time.
In both of them.
And yes, and the thing is, at that point, whenever you beat kids who are in their physical prime, you take a 10-year-old kid and a late 30-year-old man, and you beat
a 15 and a 17-year-old.
A 15 and a 17-year-old at basketball, then at football, and that was probably the beginning to the end. And that's why my nephews and I just have this. I'm joking.
So is that
obviously.
what the main game was?
No, that was
let's hear.
story.
I need to hear what the main game is.
I wasn't even old enough to remember that, but there was it was Grand Theft Auto, right?
Yeah, I taught Ellie some
So
some horrible video games.
when I was younger, then I probably should have been. My dad let me play Grand Theft Auto on the Xbox because we played Xbox ever since, probably before I could even talk, honestly. But it's a violent game, but I wouldn't do the violent things in the game. I would only like to drive the car around. I was so obedient, so well behaved as a kid that I would stop at the red lights, even though everybody that plays the game runs the red lights. They don't obey traffic laws, but I was so obedient that I followed the traffic laws even in the video game. And so
This is true.
it was stimulating, and my dad let me play it.
So let me kind of give a little backstory on that you may not remember. So Grand Theft Auto, it's a bad game, and kids should not be playing that game. I don't think that kids should be able to play that game. And so it has a mature label on it. But even though we had the game because I enjoyed playing it, LE, I did not want him to play the violent part of the game. But something because I didn't want him playing violent games. But what was neat about the game is that you could literally go get in any vehicle that you'd see in the game and drive it around. And the game was so realistic that it had red lights and you could turn on your signals and you could pass on certain lanes. Then Ellie learned all of the driving rules. And so the thing is, he would tell his mom that me and his dad, we were going through our divorce, and he would say that me and dad played Grand Theft Auto. And his mom knew just from TV commercials how horrible the game is. So she put into the divorce decree, she had it written in that no longer was Ellie allowed to play Grand Theft Auto. So I told Ellie, because he was very young, he was a little guy. I said, this is not Grand Theft Auto. This is called the man game. And so Ellie would go to his mom and say, yeah, me and my dad played the man game. She goes, what do you do in the man game? You just drive a car around. And that's all he would do. He would drive cars. He would drive the little forklifts. So yeah, we kind of. Could I go to jail for that now? Could I go to jail for that?
All I know
20
is
years
that
later?
I did hear the man game story. I forgot that's what it was called, but oh my gosh, I'm sure that happens everywhere. I guess in hindsight, you didn't turn out too bad, and I think you drive pretty well, and I don't think that you're stealing cars. And I guess if that's what your favorite part of the game was, then it was. But oh my gosh.
In fact, it was either yesterday or the day before. Me and Megan were driving, and she was asking me something similar about my favorite memories when I was younger, and not the man game, but the football and the basketball with Jake and Dust. And I only got to go to your house on Thursdays and every other weekend, so at most 8 days a month, which isn't a lot of time. And I told her plainly that if I had more time to do my favorite thing, which was to play sports with my dad and my cousins, then I probably wouldn't have went through the punkish phase that I went through when I was a teenager. I didn't get in any criminal trouble, fortunately, but I was just kind of a devious kid at that time.
Yeah, probably from all that Grand Theft Auto your dad let you play.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, if you guys want to answer any more questions, have y'all seen anything else you want to talk about?
I haven't been looking.
You hadn't been looking. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and give you all a kiss and a hug. And I'll say I love you so much. You can go back and play if you want to. Ellie, you can stick around. You're going to go.
It's up to y'all.
There's something I need to block on YouTube. I'm sorry that my face is getting really
sorry.
close.
We'll just talk about this. So we're going to YouTube. Listen, YouTube is normally not full of the kind of jerk that we're seeing today. I'm sorry to be so crude. It's Father's Day. Did you do it?
Yeah.
So
sorry you had to see my forehead.
YouTube.
It's a robot. It's not a
yeah, it's a robot. It's not a real person.
Is it this one right here, the Naked HD?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, I'm sorry. It's Facebook, you wouldn't get this, but YouTube has been not taken over, but someone has a bot and they're saying horrible things in the YouTube channel, trying to promote obscene site. But we took care of that. Anyway, thank you for doing that. I noticed just kind of people saying block, please block bandits.
I saw it, but I wanted to let Ellie finish his story.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, there's another one.
So that's not good. I don't know how you would prevent this because it's obviously somebody who knows how to navigate a computer, and they're trying to find kind places like this to do it. Anyway, it's been a really good day for me. We didn't want to keep y'all too long. I just wanted to say happy Father's Day to all of you dads and to you moms who play the role of dad. I wanted to hang out with my kids for a little bit and have them hang out with you all. Jami, can you share your favorite memory with your dad?
I think that I was probably 8 or 9, and one of our relatives got married, and I learned the electric slide at that wedding.
Ah,
Now, my parents were newly divorced.
so
Okay.
Jamie's dad is a dancer, in case you guys don't know this.
Except for he didn't know the electric slide. So here I
Oh,
was
no.
in my grandparents' basement teaching my dad the electric
Oh,
slide.
you had to teach your
and I had
dad.
recorded the song from the radio, of course, you know. So I remember playing on my tape recorder the electric slide over and over and over to teach my dad. Then I taught my grandma, and then the neighbor girl as well. And then I tried to teach my brothers, but they were a lost cause at that point in time. So yeah, that would be number one.
Well, so my favorite memory with my dad is my dad was also my bus driver. And so there was these kids on the bus. I hope that just can't get dad in trouble. There was these kids on the bus that lived down the road, and they were just jerks. It was all middle school. So middle school kids, and there was 3 of them. They were best friends, and they were complete jerks. Anyway, so I always sat in the front of the bus up just because that's kind of where my spot was, up in the front. And my dad would always have to stop the bus and get onto these kids in the back, So one day, one of these kids got mad at my dad and threw the wad of paper all the way up to the front of the bus and tried to hit my dad with it. And so I, doing what any good son would do, I got up and I went to the back of that bus, and me and that kid started just brawling. We were just brawling. And the thing is, Dad just, I don't know if Dad realized, or if he was secretly watching to see who was winning, who was losing. And as long as Leffert was winning, he just kept on driving. He's sitting there just whistling along. And
boy, that apple doesn't fall far.
Me and this kid were just slugging it out in the back of the bus. And the neat thing about it, thank God I ended up winning that fight. I haven't won all the fights in my life. Y'all seen my scars. I haven't won every fight I've been in, but I won that fight, and I made the kid cry. And when you make an 8th grader cry, then you know you're good. Anyway, so then Dad had to play dumb. Well, I didn't know they were fun. Both of y'all get your butts over here, including me. And then I started crying because
oh my God,
Dad told me to get my butt to the front of the bus, and I was embarrassed. So then I was crying. So this kid was crying because he got his tail beat. I'm crying because Dad embarrassed me.
How old were you?
8th grade.
I don't know why.
So 2 8th grade boys who physically fought and made it through that are crying because they got in trouble at that point in time.
And then later that day, we're both in the principal's office. We both get popped because in those days, the principal had a board, and he would whip your behind with it. And so then me and this kid KJ are sitting in the principal's office. We both get popped, and then we start crying again. So, oh yeah, but that's all that happened to us.
I don't know why that reminds me of a video or a story.
Just real fast, the end of my story. Me and KJ became best friends.
Oh my God.
Me and KJ ended up finishing high school as best friends. All right, go ahead, Ellie.
I did an interview with Sister Kim like way before she had her channel. She had her channel for like 5 months, and this was around 2 years
Lex,
ago.
you come back.
No, I just want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Can I bring my Xbox back?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
he can't.
Just not quite yet. Okay, just a few minutes. Go ahead, Ellie.
I did an interview with Sister Kim on my channel like 2 years ago. She told me a story about how you, her, and your other 2 siblings weren't allowed to get into, it was like the Cool Whip or something that like y'all weren't allowed to touch, and y'all were left home.
Freezer Pops,
that's what it was, yeah. And I remember G and Papa weren't home, y'all were home alone, and then I think one of your parents came home and they found that the Freezer Pops had been open. And
Ellie, this is a horrible story about your dad. It's not that. Why is this a favorite memory of yours?
It just made me laugh because thinking about the whole crying thing made me laugh. And so
go ahead.
Freezer Pops had like spilled and they were dripping all in the refrigerator, and your parents were so mad. And so back in those days, I think it was more common to like spank with the belt. And so I remember that Papa said he was going to spank each of y'all with a belt until somebody came clean with it. And so he started with the oldest, which was Kim, right? And then you, and then Tina, and then Dan, and nobody would confess to it. And then he went and spanked Kim the second time. And then right before he got to you the second time, you were like, okay, I did it. And then And Kim's so mad 'cause she's the only one who got spanked twice.
So that is that. So we did make pickle pops, which was against the rules. Mom just said no more freezer pops. And when mom and dad left, I made some anyway, and I spilt some of the Kool-Aid up in the freezer. I couldn't even see it. It was too high to reach. I couldn't see what I spilt, but mom and dad saw it, and they wanted to know who made the freezer pops, and we all denied it. And so my dad says, you know what? You're not gonna. Someone's lying, and I'm gonna find out who it is if I have to spank all of you. So he snatches up Kim and he just whips her behind, and Kim's sitting there crying, saying she didn't do it. And then it wasn't that hard, so I went ahead and took my first spanking, saying, I didn't do it, man, I didn't do it, man, I didn't do it, which I did do it. Then he grabbed Tina, and then he grabbed Dan. And he says, okay. He goes, y'all still going to deny it? He goes, let's go with round 2. He goes, it's going to be a lot harder this time. So I watched Kim get spanked, and man, my dad put it to her. He put it to her. And I was like, hell no. Okay, fine, I did it. Because I did not want to take round 2. Anyway, if I thought I was getting off easy by admitting, Dad says, take this belt and go out behind the barn. Now, I don't think you could do this in this day and age. Dad said, take this belt and go with me out behind the barn.
That's like equivalent to the woodshed, right?
That would be like the woodshed. Well, I think the woodshed is kind of a nasty place, though.
Oh.
Take this belt and go out behind the barn. And so I had to take that belt and hold it and walk out behind the barn. I guess at some point he made amends with Tina, Kim, and Dan and told them how screwed up their brother is. And when he got out to that barn, it was not pretty. I will say it was not pretty. And I've never done that again.
I bet not.
I've never made pickle pops again. I can promise you that. Not here, nor there, nor anywhere else. I will never again make pickle pops. So that's not a real fun story, but it's true. I wasn't always the saint that you see before you now. Anyway, guys, it's hot. We're going to go ahead and start getting some things done. I turned the fan off so that we can hear and you can hear us. But once again, happy Father's Day. Thank you to all the kind folks who are being so polite and very nice in your comments. And for you guys that just have nothing better to do, you really should look and reflect on what you're doing today. Reflect on the last 30 minutes of what you're doing here and how mean you're being. And ask yourself, where are you in life? And I promise you, you're better than this. I promise you're better than this. This is unbecoming of anybody. That's just to all the negative people who are being so mean in both of the comments here. I hate that. Since we're all three have social media, we'll talk about this real fast. This has nothing to do with Father's Day, but it's everything to do with commenters. And there is a current trend in nice pages that are still being flooded with negative comments. And you can see it on any farm channel, from the nicest guys out there like the Cog Hills to just good folks, y'all, good folks who do good things. And there's just this weird trend of, it reminds me of like this locust where they fly over and just devour. And I don't know what's going on with the world to where that's happening. And I don't think it's bots. I think it's real people that are just mad at the world. But how do you handle the negative comments, or do you not even read comments?
I read every comment. I think that it's easier for me to handle because I know that literally everybody receives negative comments. I sit there and I think that people back in ancient Greece were probably like, man, this Alexander guy's doing a horrible job running our country. And so I think it's just kind of inevitable with putting yourself out there for many to see.
So it's just a part of the game. It's the world that we live in.
I watched there's this YouTuber Darman I love watching, and he made a video about his actors. A lot of them are kids, and they have a hard time handling the negative comments because they're younger and they're more sensitive a lot of the time. And so they're like, Darman, how do you deal with people criticizing you and hating you so much? Even big YouTubers making fun of your videos. And he simply says, by focusing on those who love me, not those that hate me. And
I wish it was that easy.
Easier said than done, of course, but it's a choice and it's something that can be practiced, I've learned.
Yeah.
And also, I get it because back in the devious phase I mentioned earlier, I was the first person when a football player had a bad game or when somebody got into some drama to go on their Instagram and start trash talking them, just saying horrible, mean things. And so I was once that person. That's another reason that I handle it better today, I think.
Wait, you used to trash talk people?
Yeah, like Like there was a kicker that missed a game-winning field goal, and I would go on his Instagram and comment like,
Oh, like a
trash.
pro.
Yeah.
LE. So
That's it. Yeah. And so I feel guilty about it now, but it makes me,
understand that people do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Jami could talk for herself, but I know what she's going to say. I only read 10 and I quit.
That's true. Now, if those 10 are negative, then I'm like, man, I must have really screwed up today. But I'm usually read the first 10 comments, and then I feel like I have gotten the gist. That's my my temperature check or whatever of it, and I'll go back later and read them, but not the day of. Like I feel like if I'm read those then, and I become reactionary, or if I'm having a bad day with everything else, and that adds to it. I just can't. I can't let that have that power over me. So I will go back the next day and read comments or a different time. But in the mornings, I wake up, I read 10, and that's how is my pulse check on what's going on. Not you though.
Well, we all know how I handle them. Not the right way. I go on rants. I start retaliating, not to personal people, but I'll just end up making a rant video and just trying to get stuff off my chest and say, forget y'all. I don't mean it. I don't mean what I say usually when I come off like that. But
I will say that one, Teresa Pearl commented, those people hate themselves. And it's not just the cliche that people say to make themselves feel better about the negative comments they receive. It's like legitimately true, because I can tell you that the way I felt about myself during that time when I would leave negative comments is the worst that I ever felt about myself. I wasn't in a good place back then. And so it is like almost, it makes me kind of feel sorry for people that are so hateful now. Because I realized, like, man, they're probably back where I was 5 years ago, sort of thing.
That might be true.
Well, I think about that quote that I read a few weeks ago, and it says, if you find yourself judging others about the way that they look or about something they did, and you're saying, negative about them losing weight or whatever the case is, it's not a them problem, it's a you problem. So to reflect on, a little bit more about what Elise says, if you find yourself being so negative about other people and judgmental and just critical, that's not something that they're doing wrong. That's a you thing. So it's a learning process to look inside and to try to solve from the root versus filling voids by putting other people down to lift yourself up and other things. That's temporary. That's not going to solve anything for you.
Yeah. And I also know that we, like Ellie said, we all have bad days and we all have bad moments. And I'm just hoping that those people that find something negative on this particular day will stick around long enough to at some point be able to see the light that we try to shine through our pages, and see that we're trying. We're not purposely being whatever we're being accused of being. We're just regular folks just trying to do what's right with animals and with each other. And we make a lot of mistakes, and we do. And I guess, like Ellie said, we live in a glass house. So when you live in a glass house, you're letting everyone see that you're not perfect. But you know what? I would not want to edit our videos so much that we appear to know everything, and that we appear to be perfect people. And I know I saw on the billboard at church that it says, perfect people not welcome here. Perfect people not welcome here. Because in fact, I don't think any of us are perfect. And so but I tell you what, we do try. We're never going to just be complacent with, we're learning every day. And I tell you what, not just the farmers, but the relationships that we have with each other now, Ellie, I think that you would agree with this, have grown 10 times stronger than before, because just the same way that social media can kind of like break things down, it can also bring us close together. And we've learned a lot about ourselves. We've gotten a lot better with the animals by things that we've learned from you all. And and it's been just a blessing sharing it's a journey that we're on a journey, and we're getting better and better. Jami, I read this morning, my favorite comment was someone said that other farm channels are purposely making videos of them cleaning their water. Other farm channels are on purposely making videos of them cleaning or showing their clean water. And I'm like, cha-ching. Oh, they're going to hate me because Keeping water clean this time of year is a pain in the behind.
Yes.
But I think that every farming channel, if they're going to make money off of you guys and make them get out there, am I shaking the table? Make them get out there and clean their water. Do not be showing your animals drinking nasty water. So, guys, let's go ahead and just end it. It's been a while. We're hot and sweaty, and that this is getting out of control. I wonder if it's because it's a Longhorn Lester, and it's not affiliated with I'm a Survivor, and it's not monitored by the
it's not
YouTube,
verified
and it's
either.
not verified. So a lot of things have to happen for them to keep an eye on your page and to make this kind of stuff here not happen. And I'm sorry, folks, we'll get there eventually. But for y'all who had to put up with that mess, just try not to focus on it. Focus on these happy people right here. Bring it in, son. All right, we love you all. We'll see y'all next time. And do y'all want to say anything else to end it? Ellie, you always say something very clever at the end.
My usual outro is just
Do it, Ellie. Just do it.
in one of my own videos, in one of my flip-flop farmers video, I would go something like, all right, guys, well, with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed. Y'all be sure to let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you would like to see. I hope you all have an incredibly blessed day. And as I always say,
Your boy Ellie out.
Yeah.
All right. Jamie?
Thanks for loving us.
Good. Can you get that one over there? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
That was good. That's 30 minutes.